I didn't feel like an alcoholic. It was time to study for the bar exam. I failed. Getting pregnant would just be this easy thing for me. So I went to go get a COVID test, like real surgery. I felt like I couldn't trust them. It was too much. It was too much. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Auziahtv and I'm a storyteller. I've spent the last 2 years documenting Black-owned businesses and dreaming up other series. Just last week on my 32nd birthday, I finally decided to start releasing my content. I hosted an official YouTube launch party for my family and friends, which I vlogged here. Go check that out after this video. But right now, I want to talk to you about why this day almost didn't happen. So here are 5 ways that depression almost cost me my life. Number 1, it made me believe that I was incompetent. It was 2019 and I had just graduated from law school. It was time to study for the bar exam. You're talking about 10 of the longest weeks of your life. You eat, sleep, breathe, law. That's it. After those 10 weeks, I sat down to take the exam and I failed. I felt like I had embarrassed my entire family. I felt like I did 3 years of law school for nothing. You might as well have said that I was going to prison for the rest of my life. I felt like an inmate. Never mind the fact that just by going to law school and graduating, I had already done something that only 1% of the country has been able to do. It didn't matter. And even though I was able to pass the bar the second time around, I still felt that stigma of not passing it the first time. I felt very incompetent. And I carried that with me when I started working for a firm. The second way that depression almost cost me my life is that it made me believe nothing good could ever happen to me or those around me. And we really got to get into this because this is the beginning for a lot of people of that suicidal tendency. Oh, things will be better for not only me, but everybody else if I'm not here. It's when you start to feel like nothing good in your life can happen. And that's where I was. For me, it started with infertility. We started talking about planning our future together, getting married, having children. I knew I had been diagnosed with PCOS as a child. And so I thought to myself, I better go get my reproductive health assessed, make sure that once we are ready to get pregnant, we will be able to. I did not expect perfection. I didn't think that getting pregnant would just be this easy thing for me, but I was not ready to be told that I was not going to be able to have children like other women. That in order to start my family, not only would I have to do IVF, I would have to use another woman's egg to conceive. I got this news during COVID, a time where you could not take anyone with you to the doctor's office. I was there by myself. I was in disbelief. I argued with my doctor. No, you're wrong. I'm going to go get a second opinion. I demanded a vaginal ultrasound. She told me that wasn't necessary. I wanted to see it for myself. And so alone by myself without my partner, I was in a hospital room, a dark, cold, sad place. And I saw for myself that the possibility of getting pregnant naturally it just couldn't happen. And what started as just kind of an inappropriate self-soothing with alcohol became full out substance abuse. I didn't feel like an alcoholic. And even to this day, I don't know if I was, but for whatever reason at the time, it was what I needed to wake up. And it was what I needed to be able to be in sunlight. I had to be disoriented all the time just to function. And I knew it was unhealthy. I needed to do something about it. I just didn't know where to start. So I'm dealing with the infertility stuff primarily by myself because I'm holding it in. I'm not talking to my partner. I am not talking as much as I should to my family. And then one day, my fiance starts complaining about a little lump he feels in his neck. We go to the doctor and they start using words like precancerous. I'm like, I'm cursed. And not to make it about me. It wasn't about me. It just felt like this wouldn't happen to him if he wasn't with me. This wouldn't happen to him if I wasn't here. That's how I felt. He has to get a biopsy. They have to do a culture on it to see if it's cancerous. We do the biopsy. They're saying, hey, we don't know if it's cancerous yet. We won't know for sure until he has a surgery and get the tumor removed. I was terrified because at that point, it didn't matter what happened to me. I don't want the love of my life to be sick. And this was something that I had to keep to myself for a very long time because he didn't want to share with our family and friends. He didn't want them to worry until they had to. I had gone to every doctor's visit, the prep. I was there 2 days before the surgery. Something told me, go get tested for COVID. I didn't even have any symptoms. I just thought to myself, if I'm going to be his caregiver while he's recovering from surgery, I better make sure that I'm healthy and I'm good. So I went to go get a COVID test. And y'all, I had COVID. Like, what the what? I could not even be with him during this huge moment in his life. Like, real surgery. Like, he looked like Frankenstein. And not only could I not be there for him during the surgery, I couldn't be there for the follow-up. Even when I think about it now, it's like, it's so heavy because you have to understand at the time we thought he may have had cancer. And then the worst thing, worse than failing the bar exam, worse than the cancer scare, worse than the infertility, we lost a 7-year-old. Tasaya, my baby cousin, the sassiest, most beautiful, energetic, interesting little girl. She passed away this year. And there's so many things in my head about it. So many things. There's one image in my head that I cannot get out. And it's not even of her body at the funeral. It's the size of the casket. I essentially had a nervous breakdown, y'all. It was too much. It was too much. And so all these things were happening around me, and I started to feel like nothing else mattered, but just like removing myself from the equation. And that's the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because it's a gradual process. I don't think anybody says to themselves, they just wake up one day and go, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't think that's what it's like. I think it's slow. And this was slow for me. When it hit, it had such an impact. And anybody who's ever felt what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You just feel so lost about life and what any of it is. Ishmael, he's okay. And it wasn't cancer. And I was so grateful. But at the same time, I was so angry with God because I thought, is this just some game where you're going to just at any given moment take something away from me? You left my fiance, but you took TT. The third way that depression almost cost me my life is that it took me away from God. I literally chose to distance myself from God. I felt like I couldn't trust him. I felt unsafe with him. And I also felt like I wasn't good enough to talk to him anyway. And I think that's the lie that the devil sells us. When bad things are happening, it is somehow a reflection on how God feels about us. I was believing that. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't reading. I wasn't praying. I had no connection with him whatsoever. It was very much so out of sight, out of mind. And I had too much anger for him, specifically when it came to Saya's death, because she was so young. I was ready to rage war with the Creator about it, knowing that I couldn't win. The fourth way that depression almost cost me my life, it made me seriously consider suicide. And I was never that person before. Never. Anything that I've gone through, I have never actually considered suicide as a real option. And it's just, again, it's that gradual process. It's the feeling incompetent, losing people, not being able to procreate. I thought that's what I was made for. It was all of that just weighing heavy on me. I would have nightmares about my fiance dying. I had dreamt that it wasn't cancer, but then in reality it was, but I was living within a dream. I mean, I was tortured every night. I would stay in the car, I would cry. I was weird. And we keep a gun in our house. We keep a gun for protection. And one night, one really, really bad night, I almost used it on myself. I got to be honest, if it wasn't for the man that loves me, the man that God put in my life, I don't know, y'all. I really don't know if I'll be sitting here today. That's the truth. That is the God honest truth. The fifth way that depression almost cost me my life, it stopped me from pursuing my dreams. And this is one of my dreams, content creation. Because of my PCOS, I struggle with my weight. It goes up, it goes down. I have been as low as 135 pounds. I've been as high as 240. Maybe I should hold off on content until I lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. I would see the weight on other women, right? I would see weight on other women and go, oh my God, they're beautiful. I would see the weight on me and go, no. And so for 2 years, I have chosen not to be on camera. I've chosen not to share my stories, even though storytelling is a gift that I believe God gave to me. People who are ugly and overweight don't do well on camera. It's that negative self-talk, like you're not cute, ain't nothing about you cute. And that hatred that I continue to have for my body, it governed every decision that I made. The way that I viewed myself, my self-image, everything, it controlled the pictures that I take. My best friends in the world, they'll tell you they don't have a lot of pictures with me. And that's what's so monumental about this moment, because I still have those feelings. I still hate my image. I do not think I'm beautiful, but I'm doing this anyway. So now that I've given you the 5 ways depression has affected me, almost took my life, I'm going to give you 5 ways real quick that I am now currently dealing with my depression. I'm handling it. And I even talk about it a little bit here in my vlog. You should check that out. Number 1, I quit my job. I left the firm that I was working at because it was no longer serving me. I wasn't happy. I wasn't living my purpose. I was underpaid. I didn't like that. For you, maybe it's not a firm. Maybe it's not your job. Maybe it's a relationship. Think about whatever is weighing you down. That's the thing that you got to let go. Number 2, seek therapy. I don't care who you are. Trust me, you need it. Through therapy, I have learned how to manage my anxiety. I've learned how to confront those things in my life that have been painful to deal with. It's not perfect, but at least I have some foundation on what to do when I start experiencing that pain. Because of therapy, I've been able to get a hold of my drinking. And I know therapy can be expensive, but guys, there are so many different resources out there. You just have to do your research. The third thing that's helped me is I started praying again. My therapist taught me what's called the serenity prayer. Dear God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. It's helped me build back that muscle of speaking with God, trusting God. My faith is something that's very important to me, and my relationship with God has gotten so much better because of the efforts that I have made. The fourth thing I did is that I started being honest with my friends and family about where I am mentally. I started communicating with my fiance about the suicidal thoughts I was having. Even though I was worried about judgment, he was kind, and that solidified for me that he was the one, and he just respected me and helped me through that process. I spoke with my parents, specifically my mom, about what I was going through. Having those uplifting conversations with her was so healing. And so I would encourage all of you who are struggling mentally to start being honest with the people who love you. Because they love you, they want to see you come out of this. You have to have that support when you are struggling with depression. And last, I finally decided to do it afraid. Right here, right now, I'm talking to you because I've decided that I am no longer going to allow negative self-talk to hold me back and keep me away from the things that God has planned for me. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I am terrified. I don't know if you guys will accept my content. I don't know if you think I'm ugly or fat or whatever. I'm moving past all that. I believe I have been called to be on camera. I believe I have been called to tell stories, and that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm going to do. Whatever dream you have for yourself, whatever gift that you have been given that you're not using, now is the time. Tap into it. Do not let depression and self-talk keep you away from the things that God has planned for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that something I said left a positive impact on you guys. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out the vlog. Other than that, I will see you next Sunday. Be blessed.